لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياؤهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. So last time we did Ayat al-Kursi, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asserted His oneness, His being like none other, His being above all, superior to everyone else, more powerful and more controlling than anyone else. And now in these two next ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bringing the people who have brought faith and the people who have negated or turned away themselves from faith towards a very hard fact, a very important one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, La ikraha fi deen. In deen there is no compulsion. No compulsion in deen. قَدْ تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدُ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. قَدْ comes for surely, tahqiq. There is without doubt. قَدْ تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدُ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. Rushd has been opened up, has been clarified from ghayy. Rushd is the correct way. Rushd, Rashid is also derived from that. Rushd is the straight, correct path, and ghayy is the wrong path, erroneous path. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that rushd has become clear from ghayy. The straight path, the correct path has become clarified from the wrong path, and there is no ikrah in deen. So there is no compulsion for anyone to bring faith. Should be understood that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, and at most points where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. So where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said La ikraha fi deen, there is no compulsion, right next to it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that we have opened up the truth from the false path. So in reality, although there is no compulsion, the obvious correct choice is only one, which is to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا وَاللَّهُ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Now whoever rejects Taghut, the rebellious and the shaitan, and believes in Allah, has a firm grasp on the strongest ring that never breaks. Allah is all hearing, all knowing. So there's a few things to be understood from this ayah. Number one is that where is compulsion and where is no compulsion. For somebody to accept deen, for somebody to enter the fold of Islam, you cannot force anybody to do that. Some people raise a question here that what is the purpose of jihad then? Because the order of jihad and fighting the people who do not believe is present in Islam, in the Quran. So what is the real answer here? That there is no compulsion in deen, and then there is fighting as well. So remember, jihad is, Hazrat al-Faseen have clarified it here particularly, jihad is not to bring people to faith, not to make people enter the fold of Islam, but to quell and suppress fasad. Fasad is, a very common example of fasad is where Muslims are not being allowed to freely and openly, publicly practice their religion. If Muslims have that kind of freedom, if a Muslim government is not bothered or not challenged by the people creating fasad, by the non-Muslims, then there is no jihad against those people. Even in the non-Muslims, if the people are old, if there is women, if there is children, Muslims are prohibited to kill them. What does that mean? That the people, the faction of the society that cannot make fasad, that cannot corrupt the earth, Muslims are supposed to hold their weapons from them. An example is written here in the Tafsir. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh, who's known as a very strict Khalifa, and there was an old lady, he presented Islam to him, and she said that I am old, ana ajuzun kabira, wa amutu qareeb, amutu ilayya qareeb, that my death is very close to me. So Umar radiallahu anh held back from her and said, La ikraha fid deen. He quoted this ayah, La ikraha fid deen. We do not have to force anyone to enter deen. Of course, she was an old lady, she was not creating any fasad, so there was no fight against her. She was invited to Islam, but she said she does not want to accept Islam. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh held back from her. So it should be understood that what is the purpose of jihad, and that does not contradict with there being no ikrah or compulsion in deen. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the last part of the ayah, فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that whoever turns away from taghut or shaitan, definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them, and this is the circle of deen, when they turn away from that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them enter a strong circle of deen, a strong ring of deen that will never break. So this is a great mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only from consciously turning away from taghut and rebellious people and rebelling against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards by, out of His mercy, giving us a strong protection in a circle of deen. Wallahu Sami'un Alim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all listening and all knowing. So the Mufassirin have written that when these two names come together, it basically means Sami' means somebody who listens. So whatever you say or whatever you express, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that. Alim basically means that whatever you hide in your heart, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all knowing about it as well. So Allahu Sami'un Alim, Allah is all listening and all knowing. One more ayah inshallah today. It's a very important ayah. Allahu waliyyul ladina amanu yukhrijuhum min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur. Those people who choose iman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, promising here in this ayah, that we become friends with them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is first in Ayatul Kursi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told everyone about His authority, His high station, how He controls everything, how He's always awake and never tiring from protecting anyone, from protecting the whole universe and whatever has been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying there is a choice. You become a Muslim, you become a non-Muslim. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also clarifying there is no compulsion, but the right choice is only one. The right choice has been clarified. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that for those who bring faith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them this huge, great news that we are promising our wilayat for you. We are promising our friendship for you. Wali basically means friend. Allahu waliyyul ladina amanu. Compare this with Allahu la ilaha illahu. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying Allahu waliyyul ladina amanu, that with all His powers, with all His strength, with all His control, with all His authority, with all His supremacy, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying we become friends of the people who bring faith. And then what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? يُخْرِجُهُم مِّنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself pulls them out of the darkness. And what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? Does not leave them in the middle, but surely brings them to Nur, brings them into the circle of light. Nur of Hidayah, Nur of guidance. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is promising that the people who bring faith and keep on denying and turning away from Taghut, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pulls them out of their darknesses, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes them to the one Nur of Hidayah. From this ayat, Hazrat al-Mufassirin have also mentioned that min al-dhulumat ila an-nur. Darknesses, misguidance will be multiple. Dhulumat is plural. Darknesses. Ilan nur, an-nur. What? One nur. The guidance, the hidayah, which is only one with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَوْلِيَاؤُهُمُ الطَّاغُوتُ يُخْرِجُونَهُم مِّنَ النُّورِ إِلَى الظُّلُمَاتِ. And the people who turn away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? أَوْلِيَاؤُهُمُ الطَّاغُوتُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves them at the mercy of Taghut. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves them at the mercy of shayateen. And what do? يُخْرِجُونَهُم. They all come together. And what do? Collectively, يُخْرِجُونَهُم مِّنَ النُّورِ. They pull them out from that one nur of hidayah ila dhulumat, towards multiple darknesses, towards many darknesses. أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. And then they keep on lurking in darkness till they enter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is declaring that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all from turning away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and becoming going out of the circle of the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these people become the people of hellfire. Hum fiha khalidun, there is no hope for them. They will be constantly, permanently in hellfire. Those people who make friends with Taghut, with Shayateen, and turn away and become rebellious to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from them. From this ayah should also be mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, although is promising Wilayat for people who believe, one thing to be mentioned is that to become a friend of Allah, to become a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to have Iman. If someone does not have Iman, if someone is bad aqidah, if they do not have their aqidah firm and steadfast, and they are claiming to be friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Allahu waliyul ladina amanu, the people who have their aqidah straightened, the people who have brought, whose Iman is straight, who have brought faith. And the other thing is that this wilayah is this friendship, this basic level of friendship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there by virtue of this ayah of the Quran, by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for every single person who has believed. So every single person who has believed, who has said La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, is in the general sense a friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now there are specific people, the select few, who work hard on this wilayah. This general level of wilayah, they work hard on this. They care about this relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they protect themselves from diseases and illnesses and sins of their zahir, of their outward self, their body, and their ruh or their batin or their spirit. These specific people, when they constantly refrain from sins of both kinds, of the inner self and the outer self, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His mercy, grants them His special friendship, His special level of friendship, which is a constant state of friendship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which never goes away. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all that. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen, out of His mercy. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidil mursaleen. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين اللهم اجعلنا من أهل القرآن الذي أهلك وخاصته سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير صلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.